My dear beloved children, well, let us go on talking about other civilizations' representatives embodied as humans. But first, I would like to digress from the issue a little and explain to you the difference between human souls gaining life experience in the third dimension world by means of their numerous incarnations on Earth and extraterrestrial civilization souls, with those among them who sometimes repeatedly incarnate on your planet, too. First of all, they differ in their energy structure. While humans have all 7 chakras, even if the upper divine ones are not activated yet, reptiloids, for example, possess only 3 chakras with the 4th one in the butt, and the Orions and Alpha Centauri representatives have 5 chakras. In other words, no matter how many times they are born on Earth, they will not be able to acquire divinity because of their origin and chakra system. This is exactly the reason why, either intentionally or unintentionally, they are trying to reduce the people around them to their level so as to get infeed of the low vibration energies typical of them. Of course, most successful in this are the Orions and Reptiloids, who chose Earth as their home and enslavement object. The representatives of the constellation of Alpha Centauri have also made progress in studying and manipulating with human genome, which enabled them to incarnate in human bodies. Yet, it has turned out to be beyond their power to intervene into human soul. Whatever appearance they take, their spiritual qualities remained and still remain at the level of their civilization development. And it happens because they were initially created as creatures lacking upper chakras and, consequently, unable to overcome the barrier separating strictly material creatures from spiritually advanced divine ones possessing a 7-chakra system, and sometimes even a more complex one. I know that some people start remembering their previous incarnations. Thus, on Earth there are a lot of souls who once incarnated in much higher dimensions, civilizations of the Pleiades, Arcturus, Andromeda, Sirius and others. Therefore, souls featuring divine energy structure cognize themselves in a variety of images, gaining experience of different dimensions life and sometimes descending to the worlds of low vibration so as to introduce the spirituality characteristic of them to these worlds. This is what is happening now on Earth when she is in desperate need of help and support of her galaxy brothers and sisters. The entire force is on your beautiful planet, deliverance from the 1,000-year press of the low vibration civilizations that crippled not only Earth but human conscience as well, causing the lowest feelings and emotions in it, thereby ruining humans' divine essence and reducing them to the level of primitive creatures. It mainly occurred due to the fact that, being born as humans in appearance, they did not differ from humans. That is why it was rather hard to identify them, and, moreover, the cruel world of duality decreased people vibrations to the extent that all their efforts were directed to survival, not spiritual development. And it is only thanks to high vibration world representatives who incarnated on Earth and left a profound impact on human history that it was possible to preserve the divine particle embedded in every pure human soul. Today I would like to talk to you about the impact made on people by human-friendly civilizations representatives embodied as humans. In spite of the fact that coming on Earth almost all of them lose the memory about who they are and why they have incarnated on this planet, their genetic memory and subconscious reactions still feature the impact of their civilization. That is why they see everything happening on Earth from another perspective in a brighter and more vivid manner, not the apparent things that high and mighty are trying to communicate to people in an artificial way, but what the true essence of things and people is. These souls' conscience is difficult to manipulate using the third dimension world patterns, the main tool of reptiloids. They do not have them in their subconscience, with only the laws of the universe being embedded in subconscience in the worlds of higher vibrations. This is exactly the reason why, getting embodied on Earth, such souls become prominent peacemakers and truth seekers. They unintentionally try to introduce the laws of the universe to Earth, the ones all highly developed civilizations live in accordance with. They often seem white crows who are in every possible way scoffed at by the people of low-level conscience and low-vibration civilizations representatives embodied as humans, with those at the helm trying to punish them for disobedience and free thinking. Yet, their spirit is very hard to break, since it is the freedom of mentality and behavior that their true essence is, while to play the hypocrite and adjust to alien rules and laws is not allowed in terms of their good conscience and inborn purity. And now, my dear, at the supreme moment for your planet, many of them openly speak on the internet disclosing all the evil of modern society. They tell people about what is actually going on Earth, what grave crimes have been concealed from them for millennia, thereby trying to revive humanity from the third dimensionality hibernation and help people embark on a spiritual development way. Some of them have their telepathy channel open for communication with their civilizations, star families, the higher powers of the universe. They are also supported at the physical level by those like them highly developed civilizations representatives, but with their memory preserved and therefore their liaison with their planets and civilizations being closer. Thereby, down the chain support from above is arriving on your planet, energy and physical one. And quite soon it is them, the souls who arrived at Earth from higher dimensions, who are to take the key posts in the leading countries of the world, which will enable the development of a new society on Earth based on new principles. But before this you are to live through not just a hard period of the old system destruction, but a real universal catharsis, complete recognition of the things that happened and are still happening on your planet, and accepting the horrible truth about the deeds of high and mighty. You are to advance your conscience to another level of existence, with no place for aggression and censure, but with understanding that the most terrible life period of humanity on Earth is over, and without looking back you are to build a new wonderful life on the planet of the fifth dimension. As a follow-up to my previous message, I would like to talk to you about the difference between constructive criticism and destructive one. Nowadays, when you receive a lot of shocking information, it is essential to behave in the right manner so as to keep your vibrations at the level necessary for transition. Of course, for the third dimension world person, it isn't possible to remain indifferent and not to speak out their critical attitude towards the ones who have led humanity to a dead end, having manipulated human conscience for many years and at the same time concealing their own horrible crimes. And as long as it is getting more and more disclosed, flowing out in the open of the internet and mass media, criticism and censure for the part of people will become increasingly vigorous, and then it can gain the extent large enough to become really destructive, both for those criticizing and for their family, too, and, generally speaking, for collective human conscience and the planet as a whole. All of you are well aware of the strength featured by negative energies, but when righteous anger seizes millions of people, it turns out to be disastrous. At the physical level, this anger will turn into diseases for people who accumulate it in themselves, and at the subtle one into sufferings for your Earth that is attacked most severely by the negative energies of fear, hatred and aggression generated by people. It can result in sharp vibrations decrease of both people and your planet. And this is exactly what reptiloids and those of their ilk are striving for. Therefore, even their own crimes disclosure will work in their favor and will help them reach the desired goal: keep Earth and human conscience in the energies of the dual world. So, my dear, what can you do and how can you react to the current events for your own benefit and for the benefit of Earth? There is only one way out: to transform destructive criticism into constructive one. And the first step towards this can become your energy protection, not only from any information of negative character but from the critical attitude to it for the part of the people around. Secondly, by no means should you get involved into the discussion of sensational news that will be growing in number with every single day, but at the same time you should keep informed about the current events. And thirdly, you should do your best to leave the zone of shocking information influence on you, since relishing the details you unintentionally imbue these events with your energy instead of depriving them of strength. And in my next messages I will dwell on each of these points so that you learn to direct the energy of criticism the constructive way, thereby purifying it from negative energies and turning it into a tool for new society development. Well, let us start with the way you can set an energy shield, not only from the information itself but from the attitude towards it for the part of the people around. Every time before you play a video or read an article exposing the world government crimes and all the issues related to coronavirus, you should set an energy shield of the flame of universe love on yourself and ask the higher powers of the universe to help you take the information conveyed in a wise and well-considered way so as to maintain your vibrations at the appropriate level. This shield will be a little different from the one you got used to. This time the energy cocoon you have to put yourself in should consist of small cells, net to be exact, through which there will pass the information you need in the pure form, sorting out the things featuring the negative energy that is too heavy. You can imagine a tea strainer, for example, that sips tea leaves and you get a fragrant drink, and let all the horrible details that are a concentration of negative energies remain in the strainer, not penetrating deep into your conscience and keeping there only the gist of the events that is necessary for your further practical work. But as significant is protection from the inevitable critical attitude towards the event that arises, both of your own and that of your family, friends and acquaintances. While in the third dimension world, criticism is a natural reaction of people to any negative event and features the energies as negative, such as fear, anger, aggression, censure. Being a creature of a higher order, you cannot allow a reaction like this. And for a start, You should learn to keep your energy space inviolable during discussions of these acute issues. Use the same sphere of a net that this time will become a double-sided filter, not allowing negative energies generated by your interlocutor into your personal space. It will at the same time protect them from their own low vibration energies coming back, which is the case when the outer walls of your protective sphere have mirror surface. While if your sphere consists of the small cell net keeping and dissolving coarse particles of negative energy, neither you nor your interlocutor will get an overdose of these energies, and your discussion will take a calmer constructive course with no excessive emotions or passions. So as to intensify the positive effect of your protective shield, fill your sphere with the energy of ascension, for which there are no barriers and which will be circulating not only inside your sphere but far beyond its bounds, purifying all the space and people around. I am sure, my dear, you will soon master this new type of defense and will feel all its advantages both for yourself and your family. For my previous message to be continued, we will talk about the way you can find the golden mean that enables you to be well informed about current events and at the same time not to get involved into endless discussion of them. I see that for many of you it is getting more and more difficult to do so since too much new information appears on the internet nowadays. There are both advantages and disadvantages here. Just as the mass media are speculating in sensational news, relishing it from all perspectives, so many bloggers and journalists who happen to be aware of the global processes taking place on Earth now go too far, rushing to communicate to the public the new information that sometimes turns out unverified. As a result, some of you, not willing to miss something important, plunge into this whirlpool of information, wasting hours of your valuable time not on your spiritual development but on watching sensational things that sometimes do not correspond to the facts. Therefore, right now, beside energy protection, it is also essential to protect yourself from junk information that consumes your time and pollutes your conscience. Find a source of information that meets all your requirements, vibration, aesthetic and moral. Be guided by your intuition only, not your friends' or relatives' advice, since each of you is at your own vibration level and understands current events in your own way. Some people can just accept the information on 5G installations' harm and vaccination destructive effect, while some others see the whole picture, the program of humanity enslavement that is conceived by the hidden world government in cooperation with the coalition of the Grey. That is why the sources of the former and the latter will considerably differ from each other, yet everyone can find the channel and the person one trusts being at the same wavelength with them. As long as you practice, you will learn to feel from the first minutes whether this or that program and its presenter resonate with you or not. And always remember that everyone can accept the information their conscience is mature enough for. Never try to force the events or embrace the unembraceable, because your psyche can simply fail to withstand the flow of the information that is new and unusual to you. Whatever happens around, your top priority should be your peace and quiet of soul and mind, which enables you to make right decisions in any situations or emergencies. The same approach should be developed in communication with other people, too. Feel who and what information to share with. What is the limit of conscience of this or that person? Thereby you will save yourself from disappointment and your interlocutor from the information too shocking to them. And as it has been numerously said, try to provide one with the irrefutable facts and evidence of these or those events rather than set forth your own version. Whatever right it is, it will save you from useless discussions and arguments, which will inevitably result in both your vibrations decrease and those of your interlocutor. Well, let us move on to the third point: how to leave the zone of shocking information impact on you so as not to imbue negative events with your energy of criticism, censure and anxiety. If you overcome this barrier as well and learn to take calmly the gravest crimes taking place on your planet, your conscience will really advance to another energy level required for transition. So now, I will try to explain to you in the simplest possible way the difference between the critical attitude towards current events of the dual world person and complete acceptance and understanding of any event by a person whose conscience has got beyond the bounds of the third dimensionality. Before all, you should learn not to get emotionally involved into the things happening around you, which, of course, can be hard to do if, for example, the crimes against children are at issue. From the point of view of a common person, such reaction of yours is likely to be regarded as heartlessness or indifference. But let us consider this from another angle. What does active criticism and relishing cruel details result in from the energy point of view? They just multiply the negative energies hovering over this event. thereby aggravating the sufferings of the children involved into the situation and making the aggression of those joining in the crime still more vigorous. While you cannot change the situation at the physical level, it is quite within your depth to change it in terms of energy. Therefore, in thoughts, wrap these children with the energy of love and ask the higher powers of the universe to help them recover physically and mentally as soon as possible. Believe me, my dear, all your requests for the good of others are always fulfilled, even if you do not see an immediate result. Yet, besides emotional uninvolvement, you should learn to get switched off from the information tough for you, not playing the information heard or read over and over again in your head, not trying to find new information on this issue, but to cut yourself off the things you have already worked through. Having no opportunity to influence a situation, you should just let it go for the greater good of all, at the same time imbibing it with divine energies. And for this purpose you can use a simple practice that follows. Put any complicated situation or shocking event into a balloon, fill it with the energy of ascension, and let it fly into the heaven, where it will be caught by the higher powers of the universe, and they will help find the best possible way out to the higher good of all. Believe me, my dear, not a single evil deed or crime remains unpunished, but not everything is always obviously perceived by you at the physical level. So, the feelings of criticism, revenge and anger typical of the third dimension world people are as destructive as the crimes themselves, since all of them feature negative energies. And if you have managed to understand and feel this fine distinction, then your conscience has really revived. Here we will stop for today. Loving you endlessly. Father Absolute spoke to you.